Planning to bring home a delightful bottle of wine or the exotic spirit you found on your journey? Well, whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or a first time flyer, understanding the rules of carrying alcohol can help you avoid some unnecessary hiccups. So, what are you waiting for? Let's dive into this fizzy topic and make sure your journey is stress free and smooth. Well, rules and regulations of carrying alcohol are enforced in these three independent levels: national laws, aviation authorities, and lastly, airlines. Well, first off, let's talk about the national laws. Every country has its own set of rules about carrying alcohol into their territory. These laws are enforced by the customs department of the country and are only applicable for international travelers. For example, customs department of India only allows 2 liters of alcohol as duty free, whereas US department allows around 1 liter of alcohol into their country duty free, and Kuwait totally forbids you from carrying alcohol into their country. These laws are enforced when you enter the country and not when you start your journey towards the destination country. Also, these laws are applicable on the whole of your luggage, that is the checked-in luggage and the cabin luggage combined. If you want to know more about the check-in and cabin luggages, you can check out our other video, link above. So yeah, every effort is made to ensure the information is correct. Customs regulation can change without notice, so it's better to check online about the place you're visiting and make sure before packing any liquor in your suitcase. Well, when you arrive at the international destination of your country, you'll have to fill a customs declaration form. This form basically lists the restricted items and their maximum permissible limits. So yeah, after collecting your luggage, you'll have to pass through the customs. So if you don't have anything to declare, you can pass through the green lane as you don't have any restricted items or items that are above the permissible limits. Well, if you have something to declare that are restricted items or items that are above the permissible limits, then you will have to go through the red lane, in which you will have to pay the customs duty taxes of the country. Well, if you want to know more about the customs, you can check out the link in the description. Well, if you're arriving in India, you can carry around 2 liters of alcohol duty free, but the total value of your duty free allowance should not exceed 50,000. Note that you can't pool your allowance with another passenger and try to sneak through the green lane with prohibited or dutiable goods, as this could lead to prosecution, confiscation, and penalties as well. You have to remember that all alcohol, including the low alcohol contents like beer, count towards your allowance, and anything over the limit is duty to commercial rate, which as of 2024 is around 150% for hard liquor and 100% for the others. To check out the latest rate, it's best to go on the customs website. I'll have the link in the description posted. I'll summarize the national laws. They are applicable when you enter a foreign country, that is international travels only, and they are applicable on all alcohols, including low alcohol content beverages as well. Also, lastly, they count everything in your luggage, that is from checked-in luggage, carry-on luggage to your pockets and clothes as well. Well, now let's talk about aviation authority regulation. Most airports worldwide adhere to TSA standards for carrying alcohol. The rules are applied based on the ABV levels on the drink. The ABV refers to the alcohol by volume content in the drink. This means every alcohol beverage should have the ABV level mentioned in it. Whereas alcohol beverages that are above 70% ABV levels are totally restricted to carry, whereas homemade or unregulated alcohols are also equally restricted and not allowed to be carried in flights. The rules are applicable in two phases of the departure. First one is the luggage check-in, and then there is security inspection. So yeah, let's go through the check-in guidelines quickly. You can pack any number of bottles, but up to 5 liters of alcoholic beverage, and the alcohol content between 24 to 70% ABV. No restriction of beverages for alcohol content with 24% ABV, so you can pack as many beers as you want. The alcoholic beverage has to be in retail packaging and packed very carefully so that it is not damaged or leaked. This limit applies only to adult passengers and cannot be transferred to any other passenger. So yeah, let's talk about the carry-on or cabin luggage guidelines regarding alcohol, as they are pretty simple. These are checked during the security inspection phase of your departure. If you are bringing alcohol from outside the airport, you are allowed to carry small bottles that are around 100 ml and can be carried in a small bag. So yeah, lastly about the transit flights. If you bought alcohol from a duty-free shop and need to pass through the security inspection again, it has to be packed in a security tamper-evident bag. It is better to let the shop owner know about your transit flights as they can provide you with the right packaging. Well, if you purchased alcohol at the departure airport, it's kind of a gray area and there are no clear rules. So it's best to avoid buying alcohol at the departure airport so you don't have any issues at the transit airport during the security inspection phase. In case of self-transfer, in order to avoid scrutiny at the transit airport, it's better to repack the alcoholic beverages you bought from the airport into your checked-in luggage. If you have space in your luggage, as this would eventually meet with the check-in luggage guideline, which is simple. Okay, so let's summarize the Aviation Authority regulations. They are applicable on all departures, whether it's domestic, international, transit or layover. These rules are applicable on the alcoholic beverage quantity and the ABV levels. Lastly, do not try to pack more than 5 liters of alcoholic beverage even if you have a co-traveler traveling with you, as it can cause some issues. Lastly, airline rules. Here's where it gets tricky. Each airline has its different guidelines about carrying alcohol. You can bring the alcohol on board, but each airline might have different guidelines. So let's know what are those. For example, Air India prohibits passengers from carrying alcohol in the cabin bags entirely, whereas Vistara and SpiceJet allow passengers to carry alcohol if it is purchased after passenger screening or from the security hold area, but it has to be in its retail packaging. Also, Vistara and SpiceJet require passengers to pack their alcoholic beverages into security tamper-evident bags. Lastly, Indigo and Akasa Airlines limit alcohol in cabin bags up to 1 liter. Well, it's essential to check with the airline for such any requirements before flying. However, enforcement of these rules can vary and it totally is the duty of the passenger to comply and follow them voluntarily. You should also know that airlines reserve the right to refuse you carrying alcohol in the flight if they believe that it can pose a risk to the passenger. In such situations, the airlines either confiscate the alcohol or they deny boarding. Well, that's it, but I'll share few general rules that you should know. You cannot drink your own alcohol during flight. You should make sure the alcohol is in retail packaging. Also, the alcohol that you buy is only for personal consumption and not for any sale. Lastly, try to carry the receipts of your alcohol as they can be asked during the security inspection phase. Are you still confused? Let me give you a personal example. One of my friend visited Bali few months back. So he bought 1 liter of alcohol from a shopping mall in Bali. Additionally, he bought 2 more liters from the duty-free shop before departure. So at the customs clearance before exiting the airport in India, he has a total of 3 liters. If the alcohol value is less than 50,000 rupees, then he has to pay customs duty for 1 liter of alcohol. But if my friend would have bought only 2 liters of alcohol and no extra alcohol bought from the duty-free shop, then he won't have to pay any customs duty. For more in-depth guide, you can check out the article I'm mentioning the link in description. By knowing these rules and planning ahead, you can avoid a lot of issues and travel safely with your favorite drink. So share this with your fellow travelers and help them navigate the world of flying with alcohol. Safe travels and cheers to new adventures.